This episode of JMC is sponsored by Mocha Motion Coffee. Get caffeinated with Mocha Motion Coffee, a mobile boutique beverage bar transforming Lancaster's caffeine scene. Indulge in their meticulously handcrafted espresso drinks, vibrant matcha, real fruit smoothies, and refreshing acai bowls. Catch Mocha Motion at their next stop or elevate your next corporate affair or even private party with their bomb coffee offerings. Now booking into 2024. Sip, savor, and celebrate with Mocha Motion Coffee, where every sip is a journey, journey, and every moment a memory. Learn more at mochamotioncoffee.com. That's mochamotioncoffee.com. Get you some coffee, man. Get me a coffee while you're at it. Hey, welcome back. Season 3 is officially here. The Journeyman Chronicles is rolling. The JMC podcast is on fire. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Welcome back. How are you? How are things going on with you? I'm excited. 2 months of the summer have gone by quickly. They usually do. But yo, I'm excited to get the third season started. I ain't gonna lie. The season 3 premiere of JMC was a big deal for me because I'm getting a lot of attention on the podcast. A lot of people are hip to it now. So a lot more people are reaching out. And so I was like, well, then if this is the case and I want somebody that's doing a really dope thing in their life that means something to kick off this season. And I did. I got none other than Suge right here on the Journeyman Chronicles podcast, JMC. We talk about a couple things: music. We talk about life. We talk about relationships. We talk about women and the empowerment of women. And the reason why I bring this up is because that's what got my attention with Suge, was the Let Me Remind Her Women Conference that took place a few months ago, I think around June. I think in June. It was a half-day event where women gathered and empowered each other, did fun things, sang, danced, shared stories. Relationships were created. And she got to sit here and talk about how that started for her, the idea, how it almost didn't happen, things that she learned from it. Sometimes you see an end result in something and you're like, wow, that looks really dope. That's so cool. That looks easy. Or not really just putting into consideration that it takes hard work for something to look as good as it does or as beautifully presented as it is. And it was cool to hear her share her story and explain the origins of it and what it took to get it going. She's such a dope woman, mad cool, easy to talk to, down to earth. You know, she's got a great loving relationship with her fiance, Laddie Moran, who's a dope MC, will be on the podcast later this season. And we talk about that. We talk about relationships. We talk about love. We talk about, you know, a man's place in a woman's life that's strong and how can he aid in her empowerment. It was something that I asked her because I'm definitely hip to equality and stability in relationships, but I'm also a believer that men and women have they have their place for one another. And women for women and men for men as well. I'm just speaking in regards to the conversation that Suge and I had. It was just dope. It was dope, like I said, down to earth, and I'm excited to share that with you right now. So let's just stop talking and let's get right into it. This is season 3 premiere, episode 69. This is Suge's journey. Let's go.
Serene candle.
Yeah, well, that was always like
Cozy.
I'm lying. Forgive me. It wasn't the goal from the very beginning. It was like, let's
Yeah.
just have an in-person conversation. But then it was just like, people were like, yo, this is like really, it's comfortable. This is like therapeutic.
It does
And
give you
yeah.
like a therapy feel. Yeah. I don't know. And there's something about candles that just like calms you down. Because I have at least 3 candles in my home.
Yeah, well, my wife is like a candle aficionado.
Yeah. I'm
And
with her.
I wasn't really like hip to candles like until I met her, and then it was just like there's always got to be candles on,
Yeah.
and then I got used to it. So when there's not candles on, it's like, yo, we gotta like settle them. You know, it just relaxes
It
you.
does. And then like the scent too, like people say, like when you come into someone's home, the first thing you do is like smell. So like it brings their own aroma into the home.
Absolutely. Well, so
Yeah.
forgive me, Suge.
Suge.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Forgive me. So
No, it's okay.
thank you so much, because there's a lot I want to get into, but when I was winding down this season 2, I had already had in mind that I wanted to talk to you to open up this season. So it really worked out. I'm grateful. Yeah, because I've been watching you through socials, which is typically how I follow my guests to get a feel of what they're doing. I was already hip to the music. But what I would really like to start is what grabbed my attention was Let Me Remind Her.
Really?
That's what it grabbed my attention, and I can only maybe explain it because I obviously I'm married to a very strong Latina woman, but I have 3 daughters as well. So it was like dope to see this movement, this like it was like the focus of empowerment. And of course, I don't want to speak for you. I want you to explain it.
I love hearing this.
It was so dope to see it. And then when I saw that you were spearheading it, I was like, yo, that's so dope, because I was hip to the music. I saw the Speak to My Soul performance with Evita Colon. And I knew what you were doing, but that to me was like from left field. So talk to me. Yeah, talk to me about how that came about.
I had this idea to host an event like 3-4 years ago. Like, I want to host an event. I want to do like a dinner. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But the more I continued to work on myself, I was like, I want to empower other women the way that I empower myself, and the way that other women have empowered me to become who I am today. I feel like those connections and those relationships are so vital. And I was like, if I can create a space for us to do that, then I will. So I told my mother-in-law. She was like, let's do it.
Okay, word.
Yeah, I told my best friend Nivy, and we just
Nivy's your best friend.
Yeah, she's like my sister. People think we're sisters. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Are you gonna have her on the show?
I've reached out to her twice.
Okay.
I know right now she said she's in the middle or nearing the end of a spiritual journey that she said she's on. And so I said, no doubt. But I have reached out to her. And Tony Brownhart will be on as well. I did not know when I got him on. I didn't know that they were brother and sister.
Yeah, they're like really. I call Nivy my sister, but like Tony and her are real.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, Let Me Remind Her. Man, I didn't realize the impact it was gonna have.
Okay, yeah.
Because this was just an idea. It was just like, I'm gonna just go for it.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I learned so much from that experience. It changed me. I lost a lot of friends. I learned more about who I was. And I think seeing other women feel like they aren't alone, I think was the biggest thing for me. Like,
gotcha.
Yo, you're not alone. We got this. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for women of color to have like this camaraderie. And of course I don't know, but I'm assuming like that. I feel it's important.
Yeah.
And
especially in our city.
Yeah. I think it was just so dope to see because and I don't know, are you from Lanc? Like, are you born and raised from here? Okay, so am I. So yeah. And this comes up often in the conversation where it's like what I remember seeing in Lancaster growing up versus what I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was dope to see what you were doing because I was like, I ain't never seen anything like it. That's not to say that it wasn't happening, but to see it like on the magnitude that you were doing, I thought was pretty
Feelings.
fucking dope.
Yo, I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, but that's
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't have a clue. I just had that. I don't know how I did it, but I was like, we're just gonna learn how to do this.
What were some of the things that you wanted to implement in this conference? Was it all kind of like all freestyling it? You said your mother-in-law was helping you?
Yeah, my mother-in-law helped me put it together in Ivy. I'm trying to think, like, what do you mean? What do you mean with your
Well,
question?
I guess what I'm looking at is what was, you said empowerment of women was the
Yeah.
focus, but like, was it like was it a multiple day event, or was it an all day event?
Yeah, it was actually
the
it was
structure
like
of it. Like,
oh yeah, it was like a half day event.
okay.
We did dancing, we had
Okay.
performers, we had a meal. I guess like my vision was like I wanted women to feel full when they left. I wanted them to feel refreshed when they left and like they had someone next to them. So yeah, we had a good time. I felt like chains broke in the building. Yeah.
That's dope.
When the dancers came, it just changed. It shifted the environment. Like it was so cool.
Were they performing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an African dance group.
Gotcha.
They came and they danced. But as far as the structure, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. how to answer that
No, I
question.
dig it. I'm always curious, like, because, like you said, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you were just kind of like throwing things against the wall, so to speak, to see what sticks.
Yeah.
But also kind of like just enjoying the freeness of it, the
Yeah.
unstructured.
Unstructured.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the fact that sometimes we live in these walls and it has too much structure. Everything is in line. I speak personally from my own personal experience of like trying to do the podcast where it's just kind of like, what am I trying to do? And then it gets to the point where I'm just like, just let it go.
Ooh.
And so I was wondering like how that was for you, because when you make a decision to do something like that
Yeah.
for the first time, I'm assuming you said that was your first time.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can go off of as far as experience.
There was no blueprint.
Yeah.
There was none. I was just like, I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. And I failed a couple times during.
Like what? What do you mean?
Just like people who I wanted to be a part of the team. I felt like I needed everybody else to help me get to where I needed to go. And I didn't. Like I needed me. I needed me to step up into who I was supposed to be so that other women that look like me can step up as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, just thinking that I needed like other people's opinions and validations. Like, yeah, this is the vision, Martin. Like, I wasn't getting that from everybody. A lot of people didn't understand my vision. And then some people who I thought would be a part of the team weren't. I was like, well, you don't believe in me?
Is that what the, forgive me, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
Is that what the case was, that they didn't believe in you, or was that a misinterpretation of their actions, or is that something that you're still kind of dealing with? Or I'm not trying to
I love
infringe on
I love
anything.
your questions. I think it was my perspective on why they may have left. I don't think all of it was just because they didn't believe in me. I think it was more of like a personal thing. Like,
Yeah.
this is something that you need to deal with internally. You know, I feel like this whole Let Me Remind Her was such a big like spiritual journey for me. But ultimately, at the end, I felt like I believed in myself so much more than I did when I started.
Well, even the name, Let Me Remind Her, I think that's what really caught my attention, because it's such a profound phrase.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you need to hear this. And that could be taken different ways, kind of like your older self telling your younger self, let me remind her.
Yeah, and it's strong too.
Yeah.
It's a strong statement to say. Like, I just think we're caught up in a society where like we're always comparing ourselves to other women or other people, and we kind of like forget who we are. We get lost in the sauce. We get caught up in our jobs and our day-to-days, but it's so important to kind of like nudge your person and be like, yo, let me remind you, like, you're not alone. You got this. Don't give up. And it's just like little subtle reminders that we need sometimes to get through. So
you mentioned that that experience brought some perspective in regards to thinking people would be on board and they weren't. But on the flip side, were you surprised perhaps by the connections that you made by people that you weren't expecting to at all? Or
Yeah, I met some very strong women, like the panelists. Fran, for example,
Yeah.
was a part of the panelist, and man, her essence and her aura, just like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to be like her,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it was so, I made some really strong connections. So, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to have this conversation because it was one of the things that caught my attention. And actually, I told my wife about it, and she was
Yeah.
trying to figure out a way to go, but we had already had plans. But it was something that
Okay.
my wife was like, "This
What
is
you?
yeah," and so when you see that, it's like, "Oh wow, this is definitely important, especially for women right now here, because there doesn't seem to be anything like that." And like
Yeah.
you said, there's a lot of competition,
Yeah,
and
there is.
even listening to my wife speak with her friends and share their stories of like the how ugly it can get, how the divisiveness just within
Yeah.
women. So
Yeah.
women of color, to boot, have this like there's a bravado that you have to be as strong as you are, but also let's not forget like we're in this together. Is that
Yeah,
yeah?
absolutely. I don't know. I feel like I've just seen a lot of people just like talking about each other and just ill remorse or like their secret envy, secret jealousy. I'm like, yo, like why can't we just like do it together? Like
Yeah.
why can't we just like form a sisterhood and I can learn from you, you can learn from me, and we keep it pushing.
What's the game plan for it? Are you looking to do this again or
I do.
yeah?
I really, really do. I think the most challenging part of Let Me Remind Her was like the finances. Cause like I have a family and I was coming out of pocket for a lot of this stuff.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, like we were doing fundraisers, but it was just not cutting it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was not cutting it. And man, I gotta tell you this story.
Yeah.
So I had no idea how I was gonna pay for this whole thing. I knew it was gonna cost money, so I was like, all right, let's do fundraisers to get some money. Still didn't have enough money. The bill was coming up to like actually have the event, and we didn't have anything. Like I maybe a couple hundred, but not
Got
what
you.
we needed.
Yeah.
So the day the event came, we actually got two sponsors.
The day of the event?
The day of the event, we got two sponsors, and I think someone else donated. It was like, hey, this is what Fran's business, not Fran's business,
I
but
got
the
you.
organization that she's in, they decided that they wanted to help us
That's
like last
phenomenal.
minute.
So you
Yeah.
had that. I mean, what was that like? You're trying to do something you want to do. The finances aren't there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you woke up that morning not having what you needed.
I was like, how the
Yeah.
hell? All I had was my faith, man.
Yeah.
That's all I had. I was like, God, like I have a relationship with God, and I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this, but I feel like you wanted me to do this, so I think you're gonna work it out.
There you go.
And that was it, and it worked out.
When they say put it in God's hands, that's an example of that where it's like you got to just let go and let
Yeah,
God.
you have to.
Yeah, and I've learned through my life how important that is. But you genuinely have to have like this. I've done all I can do. This is you now, and I
Yeah.
believe that something's gonna work out.
Yeah, and even if it's a little bit, like
Yeah,
I got a little bit of, I don't know if this is gonna work out, but I'm pretty sure it will. Like I think so, and that's enough for God.
there you go.
So
You're okay. So let's switch gears here because obviously the music you had alluded to getting back into the studio or this makes you miss the studio,
it
putting
does,
the headphones on.
yeah.
So I'm not trying to interrupt you. No, but talk to me. I mean, I obviously I'm getting to know you now. We just met.
Yeah.
And I listened to your music. I've listened to it before, but diving through your music even more, preparing
Yeah.
for this interview, you're not just like somebody that likes to sing. You can like sang, like you can do your thing.
Thank you.
So you alluded to family, and that kind of comes into play with. Talk to me about that. Where's the music
Yeah.
at right now in your life, and how's that going?
I wish I was in the studio a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss singing. I just feel like I put it on the back burner so that I could take care of my family and like I don't know. I feel like I want to just expand who I am a little bit more. And people know me as a singer. I'm like, I'm more than just a singer though. Like I'm trying to, there's my business. Like I'm there's so much more to me than singing. So I just kind of want to like dabble in other things. But I definitely want to get back in the studio and create a song or two. I don't know. You trying to hop on a track, Felix?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'll do it, but I'll tell you what. You about to pull me out of retirement. It's been a good 8 years for me. But no, I when I listen to your music, I get like Jill Scott, Erykah Badu vibes.
Thank you. Yeah, I get that a lot.
And it was
like R&B soul.
Oh yeah, but just that real beautiful like earth shit. It was just so like, and I was like, damn, I'm never surprised, but I still am. If that makes any sense, I'm not surprised, but I am on like the talent here in Lancaster.
Yo, don't get me started. Yeah, it's like, ridiculous.
I mean, I know yourself, your husband.
Yeah.
And I reached out to him. You'll be on the podcast later this year.
He's looking forward to it. Yeah.
But it's just like the movement in this city, and this goes back to my comment that I made earlier about how things are different now than when I was 20. It's just such a vibe.
Yeah.
And so do you recognize that you're a part of that, and maybe that could help you find that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that,
find my
because
way.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Like not singing at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I think people would want to hear more music from you.
Yeah, I think so too. I know someone recently hit me up, and he's more of a photographer, but he's getting into music. And he was like, yo, like your music helps me. Like it inspires me. And I was like, oh, me, little old me. What do you mean?
Is it easy for you to get and hear compliments?
They're always appreciated, and always like, they always feel fresh every time.
I always have a hard time. Like I'm grateful.
Yeah.
But I'm always kind of like, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
why do we do that? Like,
I don't know. It's like self-sabotaging in a way.
It is self-sabotaging. We like water it down.
Yeah, but it's
for what?
It's like I know it, and I hear you, and I'm grateful, but it's just like I'm always every time. Yeah, but you know you got to give it up to such and such, or really
no,
this
we
ain't
can't
me.
do that.
And it's so but
it's
so I can think it's just conditioned in me to do it that way. But but I bring that up because hearing compliments is a reminder that you're doing something important. If somebody feels the need to go out of their way and say, yo, like I like, because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't be saying it at all.
Yeah.
So I know I'm a fan from what I'm hearing.
Thank you.
And I can relate to having a passion, loving it, but life has its way of taking over, and sometimes you have to pivot.
Yeah, and sometimes I know a lot of the things that I write are more like encouraging notes, encouraging messages for you to keep going in life. And sometimes I don't got a message. Like sometimes I don't really have anything to say. Or like if I try to write something, it just feels like it's missing something, or it feels forced. So I'm like, it's not time.
No, I dig it.
You know, like it's a season. So I think I'll be back again.
There you go. I believe it. A season. Do you have a preferred season that you like to be working in creatively? Like mine's the fall.
Yeah, it's probably when it's colder.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, the candles and cozy with the blanket, and you're just journaling. I don't know.
How long have you been singing?
Oh, I've been singing my whole life. I grew up in church. I grew up Pentecostal. Okay. So like we had to sing in church every Sunday. Like my mom would be like, get up on stage. You and your sister go up there. I remember one time it was at church, and it was like one of the first times I was singing on stage, and I kept like doing this weird thing with my foot. Like I don't know what I was doing. I guess I was nervous. And my mom was in the pew like, stop. What are you doing? Stop. And I was like, sorry.
Like you can still see your mom.
Yeah, no, but I grew up in the church, Pentecostal, always singing in the church, worship team. When I went to school, I did the choir for a little bit, and singing and music was just always a part of my life. So, we about to get into our Jolly Ranchers?
I'm about to do this. For those that don't know, Suge got a whole bag of Jolly Ranchers. It's the first time I was ever offered candy by a guest. Yeah, and I went digging in there like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, he got like 6 pieces, y'all.
Yeah.
I said, hold up, wait a second.
What flavor is it, by the way? This is cherry. Okay.
What's your favorite flavor for a Jolly Rancher?
I'll be honest, that I just saw green, and that a green apple is a good one.
Why not the blue raspberry?
Blue raspberry is good, but for some reason, when it comes to Jolly Ranchers, I've never been impressed with the blue.
Okay.
Like, for some reason, for Jolly Ranchers, but see, this is how old I am.
You're not even old.
I'm 44 years old.
You're not old.
I'm an old head. But we would put, in college, the 1 year I went, we put Jolly Ranchers in oh man, I forgot the name of the it looks like Sprite, but it's an old, damn, I just had it in my head. Anyway, we would put Jolly Ranchers in it. And it would change the color, but it would give it flavors. It'll come to me later on.
Okay, I was like, because I don't know.
It was an old like old liquor from back in the day, but it looked like Sprite. It was really like, you get clowned now, if you know what I mean. Like, it was old, like what the hell are you drinking?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I would put our Jolly Ranchers in there. Yeah, but when it comes to candy, I'm more like a dessert sweet.
Me too.
Like,
what's your favorite kind of dessert?
So I like pumpkin pie is my all time.
Okay.
But that's a seasonal thing, right?
Yeah.
So, right now, probably for a very long time, you can go to the grocery store and get it, but it's like shortcake, and it's like got the strawberry and the whipped cream, that type of.
Okay.
And it's like my father-in-law and I, like, when my wife will bring it home, we already know, like, we're probably going to get about 85% of this, and the family gets the rest.
Yeah.
It's just so damn good.
Yeah.
But like, I like, at night we're watching a movie, I get the little ice cream in a cup. It's bad. I'm like Tony Soprano sitting there with my ice cream. So when you mentioned that you like the sweets,
I love it.
I was like, yeah.
My whole family, gummy worms is my favorite candy. I love gummy worms. When I am in the studio, I got snacks and I got candy. Like, anywhere I got candy all the time.
So is that something that when you were in the studio, you got your sweet? That's like your thing there. You need that
candles. Yeah, I usually have a candle and candy. Yeah, it's perfect for me.
Talk to me about your relationship with your husband, a creative as well, and the music that you made.
He's fine.
I can't disagree or agree. It is what it is. But what I love about the relationship between you, and obviously I don't know you both that well, but from what I'm seeing, it's not like y'all are just like people that like to make music and you're together. Like, you guys are together and you make good music. So do you guys ever like talk about music together? Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time. Laddie's always on the phone with his producer, his engineer. Literally, him and A Rose are always on the phone. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
That Jolly Rancher. Always on the phone, coming out with ideas. This song, this sample. Yo, baby, check this sample out. What you think? I'm listening to music all the time. Things he got coming up, or he'll ask me, yo, what are you doing? Like, what's up with the music? I remember when we went on an anniversary day, he said, so do you still want to be a musician?
Okay, so he's on you.
Oh, yeah. Is this something you really want to do? Like, is this just a hobby for you? And I just looked at him and I was like, that's a good question. Like, we really challenge each other, like, musically, or like just to get each other to think. But yeah, he's always hearing something about me and I'm always hearing something about him. More of him, though. He is just like, after he finished his album, Felix, he's like on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, one of the dope things that the first time I ever heard a conversation with you and Laddie was actually on Earspace podcast.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Byron.
Byron, I love you.
And so I immediately was so like, this is dope, because it was like, yo, you brought your child with you.
Yeah, we
Did you not?
did.
Like,
Yeah, we had Sayla.
yeah. And so it was kind of like, this is real. Like,
Yeah.
this is what we have to do. And so I appreciated that. And so the vibe that y'all have, I follow you guys on socials, but you're very private. Is that fair to say? Like, I don't see a lot.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing that up is because you being creative in today's day and age, and having social media, it's almost like you share your creativity one way or another.
Yeah.
But to be both creatives, you and Laddie, you still manage to keep the marriage and the family life private. That's something that you both work on.
Yeah, I think we decided it to be that way through trial and error. To be honest, the more open we are, the more drama I feel like. So we decided, let's just keep it quiet. And honestly, when you keep something so sacred private, I feel like you honor it a little bit more and you protect it a lot more. So I know in the beginning I was like, why don't you show me off? And like, I mean, that's a lot of women, but
my wife said the same thing.
I'm like, I want to be shown off, honey.
And I agree with her. And I'm like, I'm not showing you off. I'm not. I just, this is just something like, but I dig it.
Yeah, but I feel like we keep it private to protect our relationship. Yeah.
No.
That's it.
I think what I'm trying to get at too, and forgive me if I'm like asking questions that are
no, it's not. I love it.
I just love like when you see couples, and you're like, yo, they got it, or it's like a vibe, it's a connection.
Yeah.
You don't really see it a lot, and so when you see it, I think like it's good to like kind of like give people their flowers in a way, like congratulations, because this is my second marriage with my wife, and she's like my best friend. And so I know that vibe.
Yeah.
And I guess what I love to do is like, when I see that, I'd like to just kind of like showcase it a little bit, because you don't get to talk about things like that. Usually it's the opposite. It's the gossip, it's the bullshit. In Spanish we call it bochinche. It's like, I love talking about real love.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that's what y'all have. And it's not perfect. I know that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think anybody who has a genuine, phenomenal relationship, marriage, can't say that it's perfect all the time. It would be a lie.
Yeah, we actually just started marriage counseling.
Gotcha.
Man, we only just had our first session and it like blew us away. We're like, oh shit, we don't know each other as much as we think we do. Like, there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unlearn. Me and him don't have examples of healthy marriages in either of our families. So we're kind of like figuring it out as we go and loving each other through. I could say this is my first healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm 29, turning 30 next year. And man, I'm learning so much. I'm messing up a lot.
But that's cool that you just said that.
I'm messing up a lot, man. And I think the beautiful part about love is being able to see them at the worst and say, I still choose you though.
Yeah.
I still love you through though.
Yeah.
And it makes me emotional because like I've never experienced that before, and hopefully same with him. Yeah. But we love each other through the good and the bad.
And on the flip side, it's like you're okay letting somebody see you at your worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
like
I never
showing
had
the ugly parts.
Yeah.
Like, man, when he's able to say things to me like, yo, you really got to work on this. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Honey, I'm good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't see it.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, I don't see it, honey. I'm seeing it. But no, like we help each other look in the mirror. We're each other's mirror.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah, we help each other grow. I water him, he waters me.
That's dope. When did how did you and Laddie meet?
So we met, when Worldwide Wednesday?
I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually my daughter's godfather, and he had a show called The Ripple Effect in 2018 or 19.
Okay.
And I was performing for the first time, and he was there performing, and we met, and it was like this. It was like a movie. Like, he was coming in the door and I was leaving, and we were staring at each other, and I was all googly eyed.
Okay, so it was like that from the very beginning.
Yeah, and He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was
How'd
like,
you feel when he said that?
I was like, I don't know if I was starstruck because I knew who he was and I listened to his music, so I felt like a fan.
Okay, I got you.
But like he also had this energy with him that I was just like, yo, you make me feel safe, and I've never really like talked to you that much. So it was an automatic connection. So yeah, that's where we met, performing, doing music.
Yeah, I think that's cool though, and the dope thing is, and I like asking questions like that. It's been a while since I've talked to somebody about their relationship, but I always like bringing that up in conversation because typically what we do in our life, if we're blessed enough to have a significant other that's there, they're a big part of the reason why we're able to do what we're doing. So like for me, I would be lying if I said this podcast is difficult, but I'm able to do it and I'm doing it. I'm doing it, but my wife is putting me in a position by taking care of so much and being supportive. You know what I mean? So the reason why I bring it up is because I would think that, again, going back to both of you in the music realm, are supporting each other and putting each other in positions to succeed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today even, baby, make sure you look presentable. I know, honey. I know. But no, I'm very, very blessed and honored to have him in my life. I really am.
Okay. This is a very, very I'm grateful right now, and I have a vision of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And then I have these interviews and I'm like, this is where I like, you know what I mean?
No, I love talking about love and relationships and stuff.
Word.
It's amazing.
But I think it's important. You're right. I have in my life, I didn't really have many examples of how it was supposed to be done. And that's not a fault to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think true maturity is when you get to a point where you're like, my parents did the best they could with what they had. And
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? And they got divorced and it was what it was, but they did the best with the tools that they had at that time. And so I'm just trying to learn from their mistakes, but I'm also making mistakes.
Yeah.
And then I hope my children then learn from mine and build on it. And I think that's just life. Like that's where you want to just be in a place where you're at peace, and with understanding, but also being like, there's things that I saw that I didn't like and I want to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, it was just my mom. She adopted 8 kids.
Whoa.
8 of us.
I was not expecting that. Okay. That's first of all, that's awesome. Adopting 8 children?
She adopted 8 of us. Yeah. We all have our own sad stories about why we were adopted, and I've seen her do it on her own.
Yeah.
And that actually, it was beautiful because it made me strong because my mom's so independent, but it also made me hyper independent because I felt like I don't need a man. Because my mama didn't have a man next to her. She did it all. She was the husband and the wife. I mean, on Father's Day, happy Father's Day, Mom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got hyper independent as well. That also blocked me from allowing him to love me because I was just like, I got this. I can do it. And he's
you talk about Laddie?
Yeah.
You put up the hyper...
Yeah, hyper independence. Like,
gotcha.
I don't want you doing anything for me because I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And it took me a while for him to teach me, like, it's not that I don't think you can do it. I know you can do it.
Yeah.
But I'm here to help you. So, yeah, seeing that from my mom, like, she's so strong. But it reminds me of when Ian first came around, I had to carry all the groceries by myself. It was me and my daughter. And the first time he carried the grocery bags up for me, I cried. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I got it. He was like, no, like, just sit down and relax. And it was the first time where I felt feminine, where I could just sit down and relax. You want a drink? Sit down and watch TV. I'll put the groceries away. And it changed me. I got to be more in my feminine. I got to relax. I got to sit. I got to allow someone else to do it for me.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's almost like and obviously I don't want to speak for you. I don't want to speak for a woman, but I can understand as a man the conditioned mind that we grow up seeing and dealing with. You have a way of interacting in this world, and then somebody presents chivalry.
Yeah.
which is kind of like you can kind of get clowned for being
nowadays, yeah.
civil.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no, like when I met my wife, I was a gentleman. I still open the door for my wife to get in the car. That's just our thing. But when you mentioned that, thank you. That, what are you doing? I got it. When you mentioned that, I got that response from her. And she grew up with a very strong mom and father, but she grew up with this understanding that I wasn't going to rely on a man, which is dope.
Yeah.
But she was also we both were put in a position where I was able to give her something that she didn't have, that she didn't realize she needed. But then I got that same thing from her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's our conditioned mind. Like you said, I watched my mom do this on her own, then it can be done.
Yeah.
And so this is a pretty dope segue, because something that I wanted to do, I don't know if you watched any of the other episodes that I've done.
I have, yeah.
But when I get to the end, I'm usually like, let's talk about what your plan is. But what I wanted to do different is I wanted to present a question.
Okay.
And so this is a little early, but I want to throw it in now because we're already here. Like the way you segued into it, I want to take it. But let's talk about the relationship between a man and a woman, and how can a man and I'm asking you for a woman's point of view, because everything that you've done, let me remind her that the messages through your music, just our conversation just now, is empowering women. How can men better aid in that without feeling like they're not able to be a man? Does that make any sense? Sometimes a man will feel like I got you. Yeah. And so in today's world, it's something that I've noticed, and I really try to hang my hat on being open-minded.
Yeah.
And inclusive, 1000%. I want everybody involved.
Everybody, yeah.
But there's also, I kind of want to sometimes be like, but there's things that I feel like as a man, this is my responsibility. And where can a man fit into that in a woman's life that's strong? It's a tough question. It's a loaded question.
It is, but I have such simple answers. I would say just show up. Sometimes it's just sitting there listening.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just being present and not saying anything. I think a man's presence is mostly dominant, and I think that's powerful and speaks for itself. How else? That's such a good question. Being present, showing up.
But I do like that answer.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
Sometimes you don't have to find the right thing to say, is what I'm learning.
Yeah, you don't.
Sometimes I'm trying to fix it.
Oh my gosh. Is it like a man thing? Always want to fix? Ian's the same way. Laddie, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think it's an innate, like, with my wife. I think it's hard. Every man's different, but I think, speaking for myself, it's really difficult for me to see a woman in my family cry. My wife, my mother, my daughters. Yeah. And when they're crying, and I'm not talking about like crying like, yo, you need to get over it. I'm talking like, you're really hurt.
Yeah.
You're hurt. And I instinctively now want to protect. And so there's times where I've learned now that I need to let my wife cry. And I need to just be right there and
just
listen.
Being present,
and not be like, try to offer suggestions and sometimes I can understand where my mind goes when I'm trying to do that, but just being present.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, because I mean, I can relate completely. Laddie always wants to like fix things if I'm feeling a type of way. I'm just like, I don't need you to fix anything. I just want you to be, let me cry on your shoulder. That's it. Just hold me, comfort me. But put on the TV for me while I don't care while I cry. But sometimes you don't gotta say anything or fix anything. It's just your presence alone is so important.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. I feel like these are conversations that aren't there. I don't think people are having these conversations enough.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, relationships, especially when you want to really get down to people of color and men and women of color that have these preconceived notions of what the responsibility is. Again, this goes back to like, I still feel like this is my responsibility, but I'm also understanding that I'm human and that I need to let some of that baggage down.
Yeah.
And when you have that right person in your life, that vulnerability is a little easier. Like you said, it feels good to be able to let somebody see you, like all of that, because that's hard. Yeah, it's
so
hard.
I think what am I about to say? I've had to do more inner work since being in a relationship than by myself. Because I feel like when you're with your person, it's like this thing where like you have to see yourself, because now they're pointing out more things about you, you know? I don't know. It's like this, like,
Was that easy for you, even when you were single, being able to look at your flaws? Did anybody ever bring up to you something along those lines before, Laddie?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe.
I'm talking about like friends, family. Like, were you ever confronted like that?
It's just different with your lover.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It's different with your lover. But yeah, no, I've had like mentors and people tell me certain things about myself that I need to fix. But I don't know. I feel like they're just deeper. I mean, the wound gets, for me personally, I feel like I've had to dig deeper into my wounds in order to love myself better and in order to love the person that's trying to love me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of inner work to do.
Well, I think that also, like, I'll couple that with, if you genuinely want to give the person in your life everything, you really need to be in a good place.
Oh, yeah.
And so that means then you need to do work on yourself first. And
yeah.
that's any relationship. I can't be a good father if I don't take care of myself. I can't be a good husband if I don't take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that goes back again to the conditioning, like, because there's times where men and women will neglect themselves in certain aspects to provide. And so, like, I appreciate you saying that, like, because I think things like Let Me Remind Her for women, I would think is a perfect opportunity to be like, let's refocus our attention on what we let go, which was noble, because it wasn't like you just let yourself go because whatever, you know, life happens.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to recenter ourselves, fix the crown, so to speak. Let's get back. You know what I mean? And so I think it. I
said it perfect.
That
Perfect.
That happened on its own. I didn't plan that. I think that was dope.
Nah, I love that. Let Me Remind Her is not that it's easy for you to explain what it is, but like that you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I shouldn't have to keep repeating it. Like the vision should be a little bit, should be clear. Like it's empowering. I want you to be good.
Yeah. Well, I feel like what you're doing is.
I love that you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No. And I'm glad that we're talking about it, because I never like to assume, but it's definitely the energy that I was getting was like, this is dope. Now, how many children do you have? Forgive me.
I have 2.
Okay, you have 2.
Yeah.
One
both
of each.
Girls.
Okay, both girls.
7
okay.
and 2. I know.
Okay, that's wonderful.
All girls. Do you have all girls too?
I have 3 girls and 1 boy. My eldest will be 21, and I have a soon-to-be 17-year-old boy.
Oh my gosh.
And then a soon-to-be 5-year-old girl and a 2-year-old girl.
Yeah, we got 2-year-olds. They wild, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's got all the sass. They both do, but that 2-year-old of mine.
My 2-year-old's crazy. She's jumping on the bed. I mean, on the couch before I left. Like, girl, get your ass in bed.
You ever get to the point where you're like, we this happens to us a lot, my wife and I, Alexandra, where we're trying to correct or discipline or redirect. And there's just something where I'm like, yo, I can't let her see me laugh. I can't let this girl see
Oh, when she gets
me.
in trouble?
Yeah, or her response to things, where it's just like, you're right, but I can't let you see me.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You ever
yeah.
have those experiences?
Oh, yeah, you got to turn away. Do the turn away laugh. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's dope that that when you have experiences like that, it's just like, all right, you're a pain in my ass right now. In a loving way, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah,
as a
I
parent.
get you. And, oh, man, what was I going to say? And something that he always tells me, I'm like, Sophia, she's my oldest. She's 7. She is me through and through. And she's like, she's not patient at all. And I'm like, Sophia, can you just please be patient? And he looked at me like, you're not patient. And I was like, but yeah, it's so crazy when you get to see a part of yourself when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I think it's dope.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you see what you're doing. I hope I was able to give you a perspective from maybe an outside view. Like, I hope that Let Me Remind Her continues.
Yeah,
I hope
love
it's
to do
more of
another one.
and the music. I hope it.
Thank you.
Yeah, only because like I said, I think it's important to hear that. I think in the small window that I have, I see that there's way more potential than maybe what you're aware of, and the involvement that I'm hearing with you, your husband Laddie. I think there's so much more dope things going on there that sometimes I like to say when you're too close to if you're too close to things, you can't see the trees from the forest.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you gotta take a step back and be like, and so like, thank you so much for helping me open this season. I'm
so excited for you.
Thank you.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
I can't believe we're finished talking already. I'm like just getting started.
Oh no, we don't have to stop. I like. I don't have a game plan. I think this goes to like what you were talking about with the Let Me Remind Her. Like, I don't really have a structure with my interviews.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was like, I had notes.
For real?
And I would write notes.
Yeah.
And then I would bring my notes with me, but I would never look at them while I was interviewing.
Yeah.
It was just a candid conversation.
Yeah, I feel like when you flow too, it sounds and looks more genuine and authentic too.
Yeah.
When you're just flowing.
Yeah, and I like just kind of bouncing off of things. And
Yeah.
and what do you like doing besides? I know music is there, and even though you're not actively recording, but is there anything else that you enjoy doing with your time? Any hobbies or?
Reading. I enjoy reading. I wish I read more.
Okay.
But
Yeah, me too.
right. I really want to get into I love psychological thrillers.
Ooh.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. So reading would be a hobby of mine.
You ever think about writing? You ever think about writing a book or something?
I don't know. I ain't writing no book. No. I journal a lot, but I'm not writing a book.
I have this idea to write.
Yeah.
I like a lot.
What are your hobbies
So
outside of this?
It's this, but I also have so I like to write stories, read stories and write stories, but I haven't actively done it, but it's been a while. So I have this idea for a screenplay that I'm writing. This is probably the first time I'm talking about this on the podcast. Yeah. So my father passed away in December unexpectedly, and it brought a lot of experiences that my sisters and I were dealing with. And so the dope thing with music for me is when I listen to music, I'll hear or see a scene in a movie. I listen to a lot of instrumental lo-fi type shit, and it's always like,
oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I'm in the process of really documenting what we've gone through and presenting it either in a book or in a screenplay, where it's almost like it's one of those I want to write a screenplay and I want to pitch it, but I'm the one that wants to direct it. And
well, I'm an actress, though.
yeah, there you go, right? That's what I like to do is create
that is
stories
so awesome.
and ideas. Yeah.
So sorry, now I have questions.
No, go
I'm
for
intrigued.
it. This is different.
So
I like it.
what's the screenplay that you're writing? Can I ask you what is it about?
Yeah, sure. Should I want to talk about this now?
You don't have
it's
to.
About what we experienced when my father
When
passed
your
away.
father passed. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like, when I brought up the music, the reason why I brought that up is because when I hear certain music, I'm like immediately, I'm seeing it like in a cinematic, presented cinematically for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that and I would tell my sister, I'm like, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, that, and the third. I got this song.
Yeah.
If I ever get to make this, I pick the music.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like one of those like Chaz Palminteri or Sylvester Stallone stories you hear when like they wrote, like Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky, but he wouldn't sell it unless he was going to be in it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you should look it up. Chaz Palminteri wrote Bronx Tale. It was a one-man play, and wouldn't sell it unless he was going to be in it as a character. So it's one of those things where like, I don't want to be in it, but I do want, my hands are the ones that dictate it.
I get that.
And so I think it's just something passionate in me. It's kind of like there's a story that needs to be told, and
you need to.
I got a chip on my shoulder. Yeah, it's one of those things. So I haven't started it yet. My goal for the off season was to start it, and I never did. But I have like so many ideas. But the story aside, that's always been me. Is like I was like, this song right here would go great in this scene. My wife tells me we should write a story about how my wife and I met, because it's just such a great story. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And when I hear certain songs, I'm like, this will go great in this scene.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's almost like I need to stop being so romantically involved with these songs for these scenes, because once you get into Hollywood and the business is like, nah, this artist won't let it happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
so
just, I love doing that. Yeah.
You know what I love about ideas is like a lot of people get like stop at the idea.
Yeah.
Like they feel like they can't do more, or they don't know how to move on to the next step from the idea. But I always tell people who have ideas, like, go for it, figure out what's next. Not that I don't think you won't. I think you definitely will. But I know a lot of people who like just stop at their idea.
Well, I think it's fear.
Oh, yeah.
Like I talk about this with other people too. Like, I worked at FedEx for 11 years, and I was so miserable, but I was scared to leave because I had the health insurance for my children, and even though I was miserable and I was working horrible hours, I was making good money, and I was just conditioned to be like, you if you leave, you ain't gonna make this money elsewhere, and like it's just gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So the podcast came up, and I was just like, it was the first time I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And then shortly after that, I got a new job somewhere else. I took a big pay cut.
Yeah.
But my wife and I were like, we can make it work. Because the bigger picture for me is like family time, but like quality of life, like and trying to put myself in a position and us in a position to have more of that.
More quality time.
But tagging into what you were saying, it's like people I think are just scared to like make that jump. Like just don't have expectations. Just do it and see what comes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just fall.
Yeah, just fall and
kind of trust
fun.
life.
Yeah.
Trust that it means well for you.
I think too, like that comes with time and the seasons. I think we're taught at a young age to expect these things in our 20s and 30s, and I think like you mentioned, you're about to reach 30 years of age, and I think that's a very young time.
What's happening? I don't know what's going on.
But the fact that you are in the mindset that you are, like I'm 44 years old. When I was 29 turning 30, I was nowhere thinking along the lines of like what you are, what your husband are, and so it goes back to what I was saying about the vibe with this generation right now, which is like, and I know I'm not that much older, but I'm old enough to be like, I see a difference from what I was a kid, and I think it's just dope.
And I think this generation, we try to do too much too. Like I think we try to put a lot on our plate. And it's like,
why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think because of what we see on the internet. Like if you go on TikTok, they got a house at 27. And you're like, oh shit, I'm 30. I don't got a house yet. Like let me, or they have a great job or whatever. So it kind of puts this pressure on you to like get it done. And you're like, get what done?
Yeah.
Like I should just go at my own pace.
let's see, I'm 44 now, so I was in my late 30s when we moved here. It was the first time I ever moved into a home.
Can't wait to get a house. Yeah, it's so
You know,
amazing.
It's don't stress that. I think it'll come when it comes. I was stressing it, but now I look back and I'm like, nah, it was like it happened when it was supposed to happen, but I was okay where I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the key. You have to kind of like be grateful for where you're at.
Yeah.
For you to get to where you need to be. And that, like, the place I'm in right now, my apartment, I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't like it. But I'm often reminded, like, you gotta be grateful.
Yeah.
Like, be grateful for what you have. You could be living back at your mother-in-law's. You know what I mean? But yeah. Can't wait for the house.
Are you looking for a home, or is that like something not active? Because I was about right now, it's probably brutal.
Hell no. We are focused on our wedding. That's like.
Ooh. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
That's why I'm like I can't do Let Me Remind Her.
I thought y'all were married. Forgive me. So this is dope.
Okay. No, it's okay. Now we're planning our wedding. So yeah.
Like, are you able to like give any?
You want the details?
I want
the tea.
I want the tea.
Okay, so we're gonna do like a little small courthouse wedding.
Nice.
Just soon,
Yes.
like probably within the next couple months. But next year we'll have like the big wedding. We don't want to spend lots of money, but I want to do it one time right. So.
I love that. I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think everything you just said is perfect.
Yeah, I just want to take my time.
And you know what? Like you wanted that to be that one time. Like this is my second marriage, but we both feel like this is our one time.
Yeah.
We actually had a surprise wedding. Everybody thought they were coming to our. They thought they were coming to our.
How did you pull that off?
I'm gonna give that to Alexandra. She brought it up.
Great,
she's such a boss.
Yeah.
She like planned it and everything. But what she brought up once is she was like, we should do a surprise wedding. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Well, she was like, we'll just we'll plan an engagement party because we were already engaged.
Yeah.
And she was like, we'll plan an engagement party to make it the engagement official. And then when everybody's there, we're just going to be like, guess what? And like, I promise you, it happened like perfectly the way.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And we had it at, I can't think of the name of it's like a golf club in Willow Street somewhere. And it was super nice. Beautiful. Yeah, and everybody came.
Wifey gave me an idea. Hold up.
But nobody knew. My kids didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. The vendors didn't know until they showed up. The only people that knew were the photographers.
Okay.
They were the only ones that were hip from the very beginning. But we have a family member that did the music as a DJ. When he showed up, I was like, guess what? And he was, a DJ got the music ready. He was like, yo, you're killing me. I was like, check it out. Like, this is some of the music I already got on the flash drive.
Yeah.
The desserts, her cousin brought the cake. It was like, she had a wedding dress made by her uncle or her cousin's husband. But he was under the impression that she was getting this dress made so early for pictures.
Oh.
And here, so we just were talking, and next thing you know, we just said like, surprise, it's go sit down over here.
Were they like,
yeah,
like,
first of all, they were like all like caught off guard and whatnot. So the reason why I bring that up is because we didn't have anybody, like, it was just her and I. So we didn't have like, you get like family involved and what you should do and how you should do it. And I feel like if you want that, like that intimate, this is how I wanted to do it, just us.
Yeah.
I like that. I do.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
I can respect that.
Yeah, let's do it private.
Yeah.
Have our closest friends and family. That's all we need.
Good for you.
Yeah.
This is dope.
I wanted to tell you something though about Let Me Remind Her. And it's kind of about like, I know I'm switching the subject here.
Go for it.
But a lot of people don't know, a week before Let Me Remind Her, I got into a car accident and I had a concussion and a whiplash.
Whoa.
And let me tell you how it was just so significant because I feel like I was putting out so much of myself and I was like, oh, I'm draining myself. Like, help me. Like, what's going to come of this? What's the impact that's going to happen? In a sense, it might sound bad. I'm like, but where's I'm putting so much good out. What am I getting in return? Like, what am I really doing this for, you know? But I got into a car accident a week before the conference. I was like, we had a meeting that next day. Y'all, when I tell you I couldn't think straight, I couldn't think straight. It was so bad. But the beautiful part was I ended up getting like an upgraded car after the conference, and it felt like universal karma. Like, you put good out, you get good in return.
Absolutely.
So it was like kind of cool. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever think about, and this is just me reading into things, the car accident? You mentioned that you were doing so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like God has a way of being like, yo, you need to slow down.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm not trying to say like he purposely put you in a car accident, but like the chain of events that took place for you to, you know, thank God you're okay. Besides the whiplash.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't, like I needed to rest.
Right.
And I wouldn't let myself rest.
Right.
Like, why do we do why do we do that?
It's just crazy how things happen.
Yeah.
It really is. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, I was getting our bedroom and the baby's room were switched, and you know what I mean, like I was getting our bedroom ready so we can move out of the baby's room so I could do the baby's room. Months back and forth after work. I come home, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there one September. My wife's like 9 months pregnant. She's almost due.
She ready.
And I'm at work. I get home from work and I have this pain in my stomach. And I'm like sitting here and I'm like, man, I feel like, maybe I ate something.
Yeah.
Something bad. So I said, let me lay down. So I laid down. I woke up. It's still there. I go to work. I drive all the way to Middletown, 4:00 in the morning in pain. I'm like driving in pain. I get to work. I'm working. I'm sitting on a forklift. And it's hard for me to get off the forklift, get on the forklift. And now it's even getting worse. So now I'm like, damn, did I get food poisoning?
Yeah.
So I tell my boss, I'm like, I got to go. Like, I'm not even asking. I'm like, I got to go.
Yeah, I don't feel good.
Right. So I drive all the way back home. And I remember on 283 hitting the bumps, you know, and I'm like, So I'm laying down. By this point, it's like 8 in the morning. My wife's on her way to work, but she's like, you know, are you going to be all right? And I'm like, I'll be okay. I'm laying down. She's like, you call me if you feel like it's getting worse.
Yeah,
and my wife's a nurse. She's a wound care specialist. So she's already hip to like paying attention for things. So by 11 o'clock in the morning, it's bad. By this point, I've already, I've gotten sick. She gave me tea. I threw it back up. I'm having these lucid dreams. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go to the emergency room. When I say I gotta go to the emergency room, it's bad because I'll fight through something. I'll be a little bitch about it, but I'll fight through it. So long story short, and forgive me, I'm ranting, but
Nah, you're great at telling.
My wife comes home from work to take me to the hospital, and we get there, and I'm sitting in the emergency room for like what felt like an hour. My wife was like, it was only 25 minutes. I'm like, baby, I think we were in there for an hour. When they finally got me in, they scanned me and they were like, yeah, your appendix is getting ready to burst. And they found it before it burst. And it's the most uncomfortable feeling. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I had to then, for the next month, I was off from work. I had to sit. I couldn't pick up anything for more than 5 pounds. I was like, my body just said, no mas, you're done. And it's funny how things happen in life.
Yeah.
Where you don't want it to happen. You don't. I didn't want you don't want an accident. You don't.
Yeah.
But something was saying, chill.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes, and you're forced now to rest.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you have to now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
No. Yeah.
Wow, you're a panda.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, does your wife work at like Women's and Babies or?
No, she works for Bayada. It's home care.
Oh, okay.
So she's actually, she manages a team of nurses, of home care nurses.
Okay.
But she's also like, she used to work at Lancaster Wound Care.
Oh, okay.
So she's always like, you know, when it comes to wounds and stuff, she knows all about it. And when she's got to get recertified, she's got to watch these videos. And she's like, baby, look at this. I'm like, no, I ain't looking at it. I don't look at it. I'm real picky about, like don't talk about shit when I'm eating. Like, don't even watch those videos in the kitchen. They just, that's how I am.
Yeah.
But now, so she's wound care specialist. And
that's awesome.
But yeah. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Great.
This is amazing.
This is a great conversation.
What you're doing.
Thank you.
You're making an impact, probably in a bigger way than you realize. I was like really like honored. I was like,
yeah.
What? Yeah.
I see. On the flip side, I was kind of like, yo, like I'm just gonna be honest and be like, because I wasn't gonna be like, I want you to be on my season 3 premiere, because in my mind, I'm always people are probably like, all right, well, you're making a big deal out of nothing. But I was like, it was important to me. Like, I planned shit. I will say that. You can
tell how important it is.
Yeah, like, I just didn't want anybody. Like, I had Fran ending season 2.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Great.
And that was the first time I met her that day. So it was important for me to kick off the season with the vibe, with an energy. So thank you, really, is what I should be doing. Is thank you for what you're doing. I look forward to following you and seeing what you do. The music, let me remind her. And anything else you want to, like, any type of what is? I guess I will kind of go back to my old question. Like, what's the game plan for you? Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do, Suge?
Honestly, I really want to go back to school.
Oh, okay.
I really want to get my bachelor's degree in psychology and be a counselor. I wanted to be a counselor when I went to Millersville and didn't finish graduating.
Got you.
And it's just like, I didn't finish that yet, and I feel like I need to do that.
So that's still something that's kind of
it's like I'm looking at the list, like, I need to do that. I need to
psychology.
Yeah, I always wanted to be like I used to want to be a teacher. And I was like, that's too much paperwork. But I mean, being a counselor is probably paperwork too. But
I know there's a bunch of counselors right now going, we got a lot of paperwork.
I was younger then, but now I'm just like, I think I could do it now.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to go back to school.
Yeah,
I want to get my degree.
You should.
Yeah.
Why not? Now, see, now that this is on the podcast, now you're going to see it.
It's going to push me to do it.
Now you got to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. See, this is what I need.
And now Laddie's going to be like, now you got to do it.
Right.
All right. Well, Suge, thank you so much for joining me. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
I love what you're doing.
That's it. We're done.